Tonight, I begin my in-depth coverage of the furry culture. Let's just hope I can remain sane the entire time. I'm Isaiah Jacobs, and I approve of the geocentric model. This is FurReview. Now, the first thing that must be addressed is what is a furry? So I did some extensive research, and by that I mean glancing over the wiki article. And I didn't find much, but I was able to tell that this term furry is a nickname for animals that have human qualities, or anthropomorphism. And I don't know about you guys, but that terrifies me. It's already bad enough that we have a cat that can imitate the fawns. No! You get out of my happy days right now! Now personally, I'm rather content with that vague description. But my producer thinks otherwise. He says that one source isn't good enough, to which I responded, why? I don't have the time or the patience or the finger power to click on each individual link that pops up on Google. I mean, Wiki was lucky enough to be the first link that appeared on the page. So my producer decided to take matters into his own hands and look up some more information on these furries. And what he found was astonishing. Or from what I could tell, because I was only half listening. He said that there are entire art communities centered around these furries, and that they draw, they dress up, they write, they chat with each other, and most shocking of all, and I must ask you to brace yourselves, they have vast amounts of sex, otherwise known as yiffing. Now, I'm fine with a man and a woman lying down together. Even a woman and a woman. But when it comes down to animals, humans, and sex, that's where I draw the line. And I draw my lines in circles. These furries are clearly sex-crazed addicts, and they will not hesitate to defile anything they set their ravenous eyes on. It is obvious to me that these furries are the scum of the earth for being so involved with sex. Excluding, of course, the Wiccans, the Pagans, Michael Steele, Larry Craig, David Letterman, David Duchovny, R. Kelly, Bill Clinton, Catholic priests, and child molesters. But even the sum of their acts don't even come close to the sexual vileness that are these furries. Again, my naive, misguided producer thought otherwise. So he emailed a bunch of these furries and asked them what it meant to be a furry. Now, of all the emails he sent out, only a few of you responded. And as for the rest of you, I can only assume that you were busy yipping. Presumably each other. And even of you that did respond, only a very small handful of you chose to have your opinion shown tonight. And even of those, only 2 of them chosen to remain anonymous. And if it was up to me, I would show your name to the public. Because the world needs to know about your creepy pedophilia. Now, our first anonymous letter says, I only do this as a hobby and I have no idea what it's like to be a furry. You have no idea what it's like to be a furry? Then why are you on a website that's called Fur Affinity? Answer me that. Check and mate. Now let's get on to the next anonymous one. I pretty much just draw, and that's the majority of how I participate in the fandom. Okay, there is clearly a conspiracy going on here. What do these other ones say? Animal Cracker says that she doesn't consider herself to be an all-out furry. Drip Rat says, I don't consider myself to be a furry. Demi-Core says she doesn't consider herself to be a furry. Now, Jailbird does consider herself to be a furry, but she says it's different. She says it's her way to be with the wolf pack. And thankfully, Kathy Lou has the balls to admit about the sexuality of these furries. Liliness doesn't consider herself to be a true furry either. And Rick Griffin admits that it means to have a strong interest in antho characters. Secret says it means to enjoy the world around anthropomorphic figures. And Holy Dust doesn't consider herself to be a furry. Let me just take a look at these other emails real quick and see what they have to say. Alright. Don't consider yourself to be a furry. don't consider yourself to be a furry, not a furry. I can't believe it. Not one of you fits the sexual deviant stereotype. If there are so many of you that think this way, then where did the belief come from? From a few sexual activities here and there? It looks like that there aren't really any furries at all. Just people who appreciate and draw anthropomorphic characters. Now, unfortunately, not every aspect of the furry culture can be summed up in one episode, which is why I ask you to join me next week when I review furries throughout history. Happy yiffing in hell.